What is going on, everybody? My name is Nico and welcome back to another Pokemon Unite video, the first of this series that I'm going to be doing of Pokemon Unite character guides, because there are a ton of different characters in this game and some do things very differently than others. So I think it's important to kind of talk about how each character is played, and I'm going to explain a little bit why it's been so long since I made one of these. Like, this is the first video of this style that I'm making, and there's this particular reason for that. So I'm a very casual Pokemon Unite player. I play ranked almost exclusively, but I don't play it like non-stop. It's just something I happen to and play. So these guides are less for those people that really want to play super competitively, and more for those people that want to play this game kind of casually and not put a bunch of money into this game to upgrade their items and are just kind of upgrading their items as they go along. This guide is for those people because my items are not perfect. They are likely not the best build for these characters. They're just what I use and what I have a lot of success with, and I use a lot of items that kind of cross over between different characters, so that way I don't have to spend as much of my currencies to upgrade those particular items and have to, like, you know, put a bunch of time into the game to get a bunch of different items leveled up. I can use, you know, 2 items on every Pokemon and then, you know, change them as I go. But if this is your first time here on the channel, make sure you are subbed for more content like this in the future. Like I said, this is the first video I've done of the style. I don't want to do these until I feel very confident in the character that I'm playing, so that's why this one took so long to come out. I feel very confident playing Talonflame. If I go into my match history, let me pull it up here. If you look at my battle record, I have so many games on Talonflame. Let me just scroll through. There's victory, 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 you know, a ton of victories on Talonflame specifically. Obviously you're going to have your defeats here and there. You're not going to win every freaking game, but I have a lot of Talonflame games that I'm just done very well in. If I look at my Pokemon, I have 27 battles on it, 62% win rate. I've done very, very well with this particular Pokemon, and it's just a very fun Pokemon to play. So I'm going to talk about all the different items that I like to use on it. I'm going to talk about the moves I run on it, and then I will also talk about, you know, the actual in-game format. So I'm going to bring us over here to the items first, because I feel like that's very important. Obviously, you're going to be jungling with Talonflame. You're not going to be laning. It's a very powerful jungler. It's my favorite jungler in the game, and these are the items that I am running on it. I have a focus band because I like the fact that when I take damage and I get low enough, it just starts giving me health back. It gives me extra time to kind of put off a couple extra abilities. Because Talonflame does so much damage, it's really nice to be able to get a couple extra abilities off because I'm healing so much, or if I'm defending, it's really nice when I go low. Not only am I getting the tower health back, but I'm also getting the focus band health back. Gives you a really good way to stay in the fight longer and get that extra damage off. Buddy Barrier is just really good on everybody. It's so good. It gives you extra HP, and then it gives everybody a shield. Well, it gives another player a shield equal to 40% of the max HP when you activate your ultimate. It's just a very useful item on a lot of different Pokemon. These are the 2 items that I'm specifically referring to when I say I use items that cross over to multiple Pokemon. These 2 items are just so dang good that you can really use them on a lot of different Pokemon and have a lot of success. My main Pokemon that I play are things like Blissey, Garchomp. I run Buddy Barrier and Focus Band on both of those Pokemon, and then I swap out the 3rd item. The 3rd item I run on Talonflame is a Float Stone. Because I am jungling and I'm going to be going back and forth between the 2 lanes, I really like the extra movement speed buff, plus it gives me attack. So this is an item that I really like running on Talonflame. You could also swap it out for something like the Muscle Band, but I really do enjoy the Float Stone on this particular Pokemon. Now, in terms of the moves that I run, I'm going to be going for Flame Charge. I really like Flame Charge. Has the user fly in the designated direction while cloaked in flame, attacking opposing Pokemon in its path. Also increases the user's movement speed for a short duration. It's really nice in terms of like getting into the fights and doing damage, but it also is good for a good getaway because you can dash away and then have that movement speed buff to help you get out, because Talonflame is a very squishy Pokemon late game. Also, I like Fly. Fly is super nice. Has the user fly up into the sky. If used again, has the user dive in the designated area and attack, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon in the area of effect. Also makes the user's next basic attack a boosted attack. So it does huge AoE damage. If you can get the Pokemon grouped up and land a fly, you're going to do tons of damage. You also are invulnerable during this time, which is super nice as well. So it's nice to get up in the air, get them grouped up, and then land and do a bunch of damage, and then use your Flame Charge to dash away and then kind of pick damage on whoever's nearby. It's super nice to have this combo. I really enjoy it. It just does a ton of damage. This is what I run. Obviously, you could probably run the other moves and have a lot of success as well, but this is the one that I've had the most success with. Now we're going to talk about the actual in-game stuff for Talonflame, because it's very important how you actually go about playing the Pokemon once you get into game. The items are great and all, but if you don't understand how to actually play your role, it's going to be a little challenging. So what I like to do right out the gate, depending on where you spawn at the start of the game, I like to go and get one hit on one of those closer APOM. Just one hit, that way you get a little bit of experience, and then make sure you take your acrobatics first. You zip over the wall and start attacking the Lillipup and follow the Lillipup, and then obviously you do the normal jungle rotation where you're going ahead and get Ludicolo, then you move up to Bouffalant, and then if you have time, you'll take the Corphish. But a lot of the time at this point in the game, after you've taken Bouffalant and you're moving on to the Corphish, a lot of players, especially in the lower ranks, are going to be fighting early. For whatever reason, they really want to go up there and try to push early scores, so they're going to be fighting and maybe pushing up a little farther than they probably should. So it's important to be watching your map and seeing where this is happening, because it could be a very good time for you to go in and get early kills, because Talonflame is super good early in the stages of like Fletchling and Fletchinder, because it has a lot of strong early damage, and it's important to get ahead in that situation. If you see that an enemy team is pushing up a little farther than they're supposed to be, loop around them and then activate, go in with your team and get those early kills, because the quicker you get ahead on Talonflame, the more successful you're going to be, because in the late game, although you're still doing a ton of damage, everybody's going to be matching your damage and you're going to be incredibly squishy. So it's important to get those early kills and make sure you get ahead and become a dominating force as early as possible, so that way you can go in and make big scores, and then late game you're just there to kind of clean up fights and kind of manage the lead that you've already established. You can easily come back with Talonflame. I'm not saying that it's like you have to be ahead early for this Pokemon to be good, but it's important. It's very important for you to be trying to get ahead as quickly as possible. And the biggest thing is, don't forget that once you do that first initial clear, you get your Lillipup, you get your Ludicolo, you get your Bouffalant, don't forget to go back and take these again. Don't be afraid to go farm some more, because that's one of the biggest things when you're playing jungler, especially someone as quick as Talonflame, is you can get around the map very, very quickly. So you're going to be able to go gank a lane, you're going to be able to get a couple kills, or maybe they're just pushed up too far and they're fighting under the tower. You can sneak right in behind, get a score, and then go back and help clean up that fight. There's a lot of mobility here with this Pokemon, and there's a lot of potential for you to definitely be all over the place and be just a nuisance for the enemy team. Now, in terms of the Dreadnought, you need to make sure that you're on Dreadnought. I think this goes for any role, but this is really big. You need to be around Dreadnought when that's spawning, because Dreadnought is the most important objective of the game. You get pretty much a free level off of taking Dreadnought. It's so crucial to getting a game won and getting your team ahead. So definitely make sure you are not just farming aimlessly over the jungle. If you're farming, you need to farm with a purpose. You need to farm to go level up and then score. You need to be around the objectives when they're going up. Dreadnought is more important than Rotom. If Dreadnought's not up, Rotom can be very beneficial, especially if you already have a lot of points stacked. You go and take Rotom, and then you follow it in with your team, and then all of you dunk on them after you get the Zapdos buff from Rotom on that particular goal set. In the late game, Talonflame becomes a very different character. You're going to be a little less on the aggressive side, because a lot of Pokemon, especially if they have all-arounders like Charizard, or if they have things like Garchomp, or any other tanky Pokemon, you're not going to be bursting them down as quickly as you did in the early game scenarios. So you need to really be mindful of that in the late game. You're still going to do a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but you're definitely going to want to have the support of your team more in these situations than you did earlier in the game, when everybody was kind of low on health and low on defenses and stuff and hadn't quite leveled up. Once everybody gets leveled up, you're going to still do damage, but not even enough to really like burst, unless you're going in on like attackers or things like that, stuff that is squishy like you as well. But even then, if you're facing something like Cinderace, it's really tough to get in range on something like a Cinderace or a Greninja that has such long range to get that damage off. You need to really play your Fly and your Flame Charge well to handle these kind of situations. The biggest thing with Talonflame's ult, I think it's one of the weaker ults, because it's kind of odd in how it works, and it can be blocked by just, a pixel. If you're in the wrong spot and it's close to a wall, you'll just catch your wing on the wall and go nowhere. So it's very tricky. You want to try and hit as many as Pokemon as possible, but it's also really nice to use it more defensively for a fight. If you see a Pokemon is causing a lot of problems in a fight, you can use your ultimate to then go in and remove that Pokemon altogether, and then just dash back to the team and help fight. It's very, very beneficial in this way, and it's really important to kind of read the situation before just throwing your ult on as many Pokemon as possible, because in a lot of situations you can grab all the Pokemon with Talonflame, move them away, and a weaker Pokemon might just get away from a possible death that your team was going to secure on it, because you moved them away from your teammates' attack. So it's very important to read that kind of situation when you're going in for your ultimate on Talonflame. Finally, in the late game scenario, if you're going really, really late, like Zapdos is up, it's time to score, you need to really read the field and read the situation. If you're up, you need to be defending Zapdos. Your ult is very powerful in this situation because they're trapped in that little circle with Zapdos. So you have a really small area for them to go, and it's really easy to hit a lot of targets with your ultimate. Also, if you need to steal the Zapdos, if you're in that scenario and you need to get that Zapdos from the enemy team, your fly does a ton of damage, and it's very, very useful in this scenario. You drop a fly, you hit your flame charge, boom, Zapdos is yours. Very beneficial. If your team is winning the fight, if you're winning the fight, you're going to secure Zapdos, and maybe, you know, no one's going to be able to score because they knock out all the Pokemon. You can just go and score. Like, if you don't think that you are going to get in there and actually kill anybody, if you're not going to be any benefit to that particular situation, or if even they're just going back and forth, like nobody's really getting the advantage on each other, they're just going back and forth on damage, and nobody's really getting Zapdos, and they don't need you, you can very easily get around the map very quickly by like flying over obstacles, flame charging. You can get around the map and score and get those extra points during the double time really effectively with Talonflame, just because of his mobility with fly, being able to get over walls and stuff without having to use your escape button or anything like that. Really, really nice. But that pretty much covers my guide for Talonflame. It is my favorite jungler in the game. It's the Pokemon I play the most. I will, like I said, have more of these coming out as I get more familiar with more Pokemon, and I feel confident enough to actually make guides. I don't want to make these guides and just be like, oh yeah, run this, and then not give people the best advice and stuff that actually works for me. I want to like actually play a Pokemon, have a lot of success with that Pokemon, and then tell people what to do. It doesn't make any sense for me to make a guide over a Pokemon that I played once and like, yep, this worked one game. So that is kind of how these are going to go. So I'm thinking the next Pokemon will either be Garchomp or Blissey, because those are two Pokemon that I play a ton. So expect more guides like this in the future. If you found this video entertaining and helpful, make sure you leave a like and smash the subscribe button for more videos like this in the future. Be sure you check out the Discord where people over there playing Pokemon all the time, and check me out over on Twitch, enter the chat, TikTok, and all my other social medias. If you're interested in keeping up with me, this channel, the stream, the podcast, anything like that, just check all that stuff in the description below. But like I said, that's it for this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.